For the final time of the 2024-2025 season, we're back with Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast. We say salute to the Dallas Stars. We will miss you in this 2024-2025 season. It was a great season. Comes to an end in 5 games against Edmonton in the Western Conference Finals, third year in a row that they've lost in the Western Conference Finals. I have a lot of things to say that I won't say on the podcast until after this weekend when we do exit interviews, but welcome to Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang. Zing Zang will be consumed a lot this summer on the golf course, at home, watching Astros games. We're going to be hammering the Zing Zangs. Zang responsibly with Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. And shout out to Prize Picks. Use code Apollo when you sign up. Get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app. It's not sports betting. So shout out to Prize Picks. Use code Apollo when you sign up. Get up to $100 match on your first deposit. I'm your host, Tone Strankman, joined always by Dom Garcia. It's a Friday morning. You can determine the spelling of morning and the meaning of morning, but here we are, another Clean Sheet of Ice.
Yeah, it's raining pretty bad down here in Houston, and I think the weather is reflecting all of Texas hockey right now.
I Edmonton was by far and away the better team in the series, outside of the third period in Game 1. Other than that, they dominated the series from start to finish, outside of one period of hockey. That was it.
Yeah, no, I mean, PK Subban was trying to hammer it home as much as he could. This is the Western Conference Final. Your stars have to show up for your team. And just speaking for Edmonton, they did that and some. I mean, they look like a team that has played for a Stanley Cup, and it was really impressive. If I'm taking my Dallas fandom out of it, it was really impressive to see how well they played defensively. It was really impressive to see from line 1 to line 4, just how solid of a team they are. You know, last year, I was really thinking they were going to win the Cup when they got to the final. I think they're a better team this year than they were last year, and that's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, and I think Florida's also a better team. Like, they doubled down on the rat status. They went and get Marchand at the trade deadline. They get Seth Jones. They just add on to the fuel of the fire, and that finals is going to be electric. Obviously, you have the revenge factor of the Oilers, and then you have the dynasty factor of Florida, like going to 3 straight Cup finals, and they have like $21 million in cap space this offseason, and it only goes up from there for the next 3 years. Like, and after 2 years from now or 3 years from now, they're going to have $50-something million in cap space. Like, this could be a dynasty. This could be what Tampa Bay thought they were going to be, and going to 3 straight Cup finals, winning 2. We could see that factor, though. We could also see the best player in hockey get his first ever Cup. Canada winning their first Cup since 1993. You could see a lot of those things happening in this finals. It's going to be a really fun one to watch, but it's going to sting the whole time. Yeah. I was really looking forward to going to Miami, staying in the condo, driving up to Sunrise, going to a Florida Panthers game, see the Rats on the ice for once. And I was really excited to go do that, and I was stripped of that opportunity. The Edmonton Oilers earned it. I mean, they played way better hockey than the Stars did. I think the Stars are all very hurt based on what I saw in the locker room yesterday at morning skate. And then we played the most confident team in the world, and I don't think we had a lot of confidence going into that one based on what I saw in morning skate, where it's optional the whole series. I think everyone's hurt, and that's why they were doing optionals. But even in the locker room, there's no just messing around, joking. Like, Petrovic and Bish will usually get after some people and are yelling and making jokes and all that kind of stuff. That didn't really happen all series. And Edmonton on the ice yesterday for morning skate, one goal goes in on a 2-on-1 drill that they were playing, and the whole bench is stick tapping against the boards. They're screaming and hooting and hollering, and I was just like, it's not a good sign for tonight. You're playing the most confident team in the world with the best player in the world. It was a tough matchup.
And with that being said, we finally showed up in the last game for moments that we were waiting for the last 3 games in a row. And that's, to Edmonton's credit, it's a sign of a good team when you can take the other team's solid attack and just brush it off like it's nothing. I can take your best shot and you can't take mine. And that's why the Edmonton Oilers are going to play for a Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and just get the meat of this episode out of the way. Jake Oettinger starts in goal. He lets in his first 2 shots on goal. Hard to blame him on those. It's Corey Perry wide open in the slot on a power play, a minute and a half into the game. It's like the Oilers on the power play in this series were almost unstoppable outside of the first game. And you let that guy, the worm, just wide open in front of the net. He's probably going to score. Jake did get a glove on it. It just tipped it and it fell, just like dropped right over the goal line. And that one, I was like, all right, bullshit plays out of the way. We're good. We're fine. Just go play Stars hockey. And then they scored just a couple minutes later. It felt like on another good play. It's just hard to blame Jake on either of those. And it's 2 shots on goal and it's 2 goals. Dallas and Pete DeBoer immediately call a timeout. He's yelling at the bench. Bench is an interesting image. I know sitting on the bench, it's hard to like look at your coach, but you can tell that half of the players are looking at Pete DeBoer and half of them are turned away from him. That's what I noticed at the still image and also the video of it. And then at the end of it, it's Jake going back to his goal after the timeout is over. TV timeout's over. He's going back to his goal, and Pete's yelling, Jake, get the fuck off the ice, was the exact quote. So you pull Jake Oettinger, you put Casey DeSmith in net, and then they score. The Oilers scored again, like a minute and a half later into the game, into Casey DeSmith's part of the game. It's like the goaltending, I don't believe, was the issue. I believe the defending and the lack of offense was the issue. It's like you spent a majority of the time in the defensive zone during that period of time, and you weren't able to generate any offense. You weren't able to go over the blue line, and you can't do that. And you're letting this team stay in the ozone that amount of time is just egregious. And you can't really blame the goaltender. It's sure the goaltender can make some saves and can help keep you in it, but at the end of the day, Jake Oettinger had a .909 save percentage in the regular season. He had a .908 save percentage in the playoffs. He faced 445 shots in 18 games, 75 more than any other player or any other goaltender in the NHL playoffs. Bobrovsky is second with like 370 something. So there's about 75 more. And at some point, your goaltender cannot just make every single save. If you're going to allow that many shots on goal, which is part of the system, it's the man-on-man and the lack of offensive production, like in both of the last 2 series, really, and even a little bit of the Colorado series. Like when those things happen, they're going to get more shots on goal. I understand that. But at some point, man, you got to just help your goaltender out. And I don't know if that's the system. I don't know if that's because all the players were hurt. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't think you can blame Jake Oettinger, and you can't blame Casey DeSmith for last night.
So for everyone that's listened and followed with us during the Stanley Cup playoff run, we're very grateful. For those of you who don't know, the guy right next to me, Mr. Stone Storkman, is a credentialed member of the media for the Dallas Stars. So he's in the locker room. He's after the games. He's asking questions. He's asked Peter DeBoer questions, and I'm not. I am a Dallas Stars fan. Full stop. So I can say without certainty, there wasn't one person in the hockey world that agreed with the decision to take Jake Oettinger out of that game. Not one. And then the reasoning post-game was just such a bad finger pointing by your own coach, who's been a great coach all year. And I'm just telling you, man, like, we're not here without Jake Oettinger. And it showed the second you took him out of the game. And I'm not blaming Casey DeSmith because he did all you can do. But there's not a goalie on planet Earth, those 2 goals that Jake let in, that would have saved those goals. When you have your defense, and particularly Wyatt Johnston and Thomas Harley, making bad mental errors, you're going to get scored on, especially with a team like Edmonton. So to pull Jake and to have Jake go through that, such an embarrassing moment for, in my opinion, and I know I'm biased, a top 3 goalie on planet Earth. Like we'll get into it, but the comment of Jake has lost 3 conference finals. I didn't know the Dallas Stars were the Jake Oettingers. I thought they were the Dallas Stars, and the Dallas Stars have lost 3 times in the Western Conference, not the Jake Oettingers. The Jake Oettingers has done everything he possibly could for this team. He makes unbelievable saves. We're not here without him. We don't beat Colorado without Jake Oettinger. Jake Oettinger went one-on-one against the guy who's going to be the MVP in Winnipeg and beat him. He outplayed him. Now, this series, I'll tip my cap to Skinner. Skinner played his ass off. Would I take Skinner ahead of Jake Oettinger? No, I wouldn't. I would not. But I will admit Skinner played well, but Jake didn't play bad either. And to take him out in that early in the game, like I give all the credit in the world to Jake because I would have handled it a lot. I would not have come out back. He went to the locker room, and for Jake to come back and then have to sit next to Ray Ferraro, talk about how Ray Ferraro is kind of disgusted with what has happened. That's a lot of mental toughness. And thank God Jake Oettinger is a Dallas Star. I ride with Jake Oettinger. I like Peter DeBoer, but you're wrong. You're simply wrong on this one. Man, that was terrible to watch. And, you know, I can handle losing to the Edmonton Oilers. They're a great team. But to point the finger, like you said, you're going to see him in the exit meetings. I hope the mood changes, because if I said that, I would have came back and say I was wrong for that, because Jake Oettinger deserved it. Point blank, Jake Oettinger deserved better than the way he was treated last night.
So post game, me and Sam Nessler from DLLS are sitting next to each other, and we're like, I wonder what we're going to get out of Pete, because it can either go one of two ways. We're there for 20 minutes and he answers a lot of questions and he goes into a lot of detail, or we're going to get like a 3-minute presser where he says very minimal words and walks off angry. Kind of got a tweener. We didn't get 20 minutes out of him. I don't think we even got 10 minutes out of him, but he answered a good number of questions. And I think for the first time all season, he was very honest in his post-game presser. I don't think he's very, and by honest, I mean he's actually going into detail about things and not just like not revealing anything, not showing any facts, not showing anything what he was thinking. Like, the series is over, so none of what he says at this point is going to hurt his team in the future, because the series is over. So you don't have to not reveal anything and hide anything or whatever it is. So I thought he was very honest. And at the very end of it, he says, Edmonton is a much better team than we played last year, and they deserve to win this series. They played better than us and all that. First time all season he's really said anything like that. And I was like, okay, that part was good. But pretty much everything leading up before then was not great. I will hold off on my real thoughts. I'm just going to state facts and things that I saw and things that I've seen in the past with Pete DeBoer and goalies and all that kind of stuff. It's not an opinion of Pete DeBoer. It is just what has happened in the past, and what I saw on the ice during this postseason run and all season long is that he pointed out that Jake, like you said, has lost 6 out of 7. He said Jake Oettinger has lost 6 out of 7 against the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Finals. The problem with that is that there's 5 other players on the ice. There's 12 skaters and 6 D-men at all moments in time that are going to be shifting in and on and off the ice. And Jake Oettinger is the one that it stays on the ice the whole time. I get that. But at some point, 445 shots has to matter, right? Like, that's 75 more than any other goaltender has faced. Like, Bob from Florida, like, he's faced 370 something shots on goal in this postseason. And he plays behind a team that is, when they're down 2-0 or 3-1, they're going to win the game. Plain and simple. And we saw that in the first round. Saw it against Winnipeg in the second round. Like, this team could have done it. But to say that Jake has lost 6 out of 7 is troublesome to me. Jake's my guy. I talked to him the most in the locker room. Great guy. Got to know him a little bit this season. Really proud of what he did this year, and I'm really proud of him not saying anything online, because, like, if this is the NBA, Eric Bledsoe, whoever, LeBron, like, someone's saying something post game and someone's going to tweet something out. But Jake, consummate pro, he's a great guy. Will ride and die for my guy Jake Oettinger. But for him to say that Jake Oettinger has lost 6 out of 7, and not that the Stars have lost 6 out of 7 and we didn't do enough to help Jake out, which he mentioned like game 2, but he didn't say game 3 or 4. He just, when he pulls him, he says that Leah from Dallas Morning News, I believe, she asked the question, what was the decision? Like, what was your thought process on the decision to pull Jake? And he goes, it was just trying to get something going, trying to get the boys going and send a message to the guys, like, you're not doing anything to help him out. And then he goes into, he's lost 6 out of 7. And at some point, you also have to look in the mirror, because Pete DeBoer has lost 6 out of 7 Western Conference Finals. If you look at it from 2019, I believe he's been in 6 out of the last 7, or 2018, can't remember, and missed the playoffs once in there and got fired from Vegas, got fired from San Jose. And now we're on year 3 of losing in the Western Conference Finals for the Dallas Stars. I'm not asking for his job. I'm not asking to get him fired or anything like that. I'm just pointing out facts that he has lost 6 out of 7 conference finals. At some point, do you have to look in the mirror? Do you have to look at your team? Do you have to look at the captain? Do you have to look at your defense? Like, there's a lot of other factors that went into Jake Oettinger not playing as good as he could have possibly played in these playoffs, because I don't think the team did a good enough job to help Jake out. And I think that's a byproduct of Miro Heiskanen getting injured in January, and then Thomas Harley and Esa Lindell are playing 26 to 30 minutes a night for several months. And then you win a round without Miro. You get Miro back halfway through the second round. You win that round. You win game 1, which you hadn't done except for the previous round, but you didn't do it for 8 game 1s in a row. Like, you hadn't won a game 1, and I was just like, and they won 2 game 1s in a row. So I thought this team was different. It appears that it is not. And then also Pete DeBoer mentioned that on paper, this team may have been the best Dallas Stars team in the last 3 years, but he doesn't believe that they were. And that is another thing that I disagree with. I'm not in the locker room for practices, and I'm not in their team meetings. I'm not hanging out with the guys. But from what I saw on the ice post trade deadline, this was the best team that the Stars have had in the last 3 years. You don't have Yanni Hakanpää and Ryan Suter and just all these Radek Faksa. You upgraded pretty much every lower level position that you could have, the second line, the third line, the fourth line, and then your bottom 4 D pairings. You've upgraded all of those in the last year, over the trade deadline, over free agency last year. And for Pete DeBoer to just throw Jake under the bus is really all that was. He threw him under the bus. He didn't particularly take any blame. He did say at some point, it falls on all of us. And I'm like, no, at all points, it falls on all of you, on the coaches, on the players, on the goaltender. It falls on everybody. So for him to throw Jake under the bus, and someone tweeted out the picture of Marc-Andre Fleury that his agent tweeted out back in 2018 or whenever that was, and 2019 maybe, with the sword through his back. And then someone made a Jake Oettinger version of it. And both times it is Pete DeBoer that threw the goaltender under the bus. Those are just facts, just stating things, not opinions. I didn't like the comments, especially because Jake's my guy. I'm going to ride with him no matter what. But even as a coach, if another coach said that about a goaltender, that same meme is getting thrown out there. If Skinner ends up losing the series and Knoblauch comes out and just yeah, Skinner let us down. Skinner lost the series for us. He lost 4 out of 5 for the Oilers this Western Conference Finals. He didn't do what he did last year. That same meme is getting thrown out there. I can't believe he did it twice. That is the most crazy thing, is that 4, 5, 6 years later, he says that pretty much the exact same thing. He throws a goaltender under the bus, and the same exact thing happens out of it. And the meme comes out, the sword in the back. And I'm curious to see what happens tomorrow at exit interviews. We'll talk about it early next week. We'll record another one and talk about exit interviews and season recap. But I didn't like it. I don't think anyone in the room liked it. You said everyone on Twitter last night, national beat reporters, no one's agreeing with it. The decision to pull him, 1, and then 2, to talk about him in that way, shape, and form is just it's bad. It's a bad look, I think.
No, and the comment of this is not the best team he's coached. I also want to spit some facts at you, right? Jim Nill, GM of the year,
probably 3 years in a row,
and probably 3 years in a row. So if you want to make a comment of, Edmonton showed up and we didn't, the whole series, I can live with that. Even if it sounds like it's tough love, I can live with that. We had the best line in hockey, and they didn't play like the best line in hockey. I will stand by that statement. But Jim Nill never trades first round picks, and he emptied the clip to get you a point per game player in Mikko Rantanen. And Mikko Rantanen did his thing. And the rest of the team, everybody stepped up at some point during the playoffs. But in this Western Conference Final, I could say a lot of things of what didn't happen, what did happen. What I would say, though, Jake Oettinger played like Jake Oettinger. You said it before we started recording. His save percentage was almost identical to his regular season, which is top 5 in hockey.
Yep.
So, um, Mr. Stone rides with Jake Oettinger. I think all of Dallas also rides with Jake Oettinger. Um, and I I still think Peter DeBoer can get these guys where they want to be, but we're human and we make mistakes. And I think last night's post game presser was a gigantic mistake by Peter DeBoer. Um, you could tail it a bunch of ways, but dude, that's not the way you handle it. And I thought Jamie Benn, the captain that he is, I think they asked him, like, did you agree with the pull? And he basically, in the 3 words that he said, goes, yeah, it's not my call. Translation from Jamie Benn, I wouldn't have done it. I'll do that for him. But God, I feel for Jamie Benn. I feel for Duchesne had such a great regular season this year. It sucks that, we don't know his future with the Dallas Stars. He's a really great human. So you tend to keep great humans in great organizations, and Dallas is a great organization. Granlund did his thing this year from the second he got to Dallas. The fourth liners were like our best players this series, if I'm being honest. So they did their thing. Robo finally became Robo when it was too late, unfortunately. Rupe had a tough series. And just, it just wasn't meant to, like, Edmonton, they earned it. They flat out earned it, and that's all you had to say. But to give the extracurriculars from Peter DeBoer, I don't agree with. And I think that's what makes this loss really tough for me. Is just this is one of the best organizations in hockey, and the way it ended was not to the liking of a really great organization.
Yeah, you mentioned that Jamie said not his call. Robo said that's the coach's decision. Mikko Rantanen said that was the coach's decision. It's hard to see if anyone agreed with it. I love that Casey got some time in the playoffs a couple of times now. Like I've enjoyed talking to Casey this year as well. Fun guy in the locker room. He's fun to watch. He's a great goaltender, and he's an awesome backup goaltender for the Dallas Stars. And he's going to be here for a couple more years, which is glad to have him. But yeah, you can't stab your goaltender in the back after a series loss when no one could score. Like, you scored multiple goals in the first game. You didn't score any in the second game. You scored 1 goal in the third game, 1 goal in the fourth game, and then you scored, 2, 3 goals last night? You scored 3 goals last night. And yeah, I'm glad Robo, finally got into form and he looked the best he's looked all regular season. Like, this whole entire season, I've never seen Robo look like that. He was skating faster. He was doing, spin moves like Duchesne does at the blue line and protecting the puck. He's getting pucks on net. Like, that second goal he had on Skinner, where he sent it 5-hole from the faceoff dot, essentially, like, that goal 10 times out of 10 is saved by an NHL goalie, especially in the playoffs. And I was like, oh, this is the Skinner that we've missed all season. Like, that was the Skinner that we know in the playoffs for the last couple of years, except for against the Dallas Stars. And I was like, hey, maybe they just get it back right now. Maybe it's 3-2. Maybe we get one back. And then obviously McDavid goes on that breakaway, and it's over after that. I mean, Pete DeBoer said it in his presser. It's like, after that McDavid goal, it was over. I was like, it's tough to say when you still had 8, 9 minutes left in the game, 10 minutes. I can't remember, but yeah, I just it's a tough end to an awesome season. Like, it's a tumultuous season, even. Like, you had the Sagan injury in December. You have Mush go out late December. He misses almost 2 months. Dumba has that mysterious injury in the beginning of the season to his face, and then he comes back a month later. Then you lose Miro in January. You trade for Granny and CC early February. Throw a first-round pick in that trade as well. Like, okay, they're starting to go for it. And then all of a sudden, Mikko Rantanen shows up. You trade Logan Stankoven, who was underperforming this season. He's been awesome in Carolina. I love it for him. Like, he deserves all the good in the world. Like, Logan Stankoven's a great guy, and had some fun conversations with him when he was in Dallas, and love that he's going to flourish in Carolina. I think he's going to be an awesome Hurricane for a number of years. But you get Mikko Rantanen, you get a top 15 skater in the world, 1.3 something points per game in the playoffs. He's 7th all time and all these things. Like, he put his team on the back in Game 7 against Colorado. Like, you had that, and you have the Winnipeg overtime winner in Game 6. Like, had all of these magical moments all season long and get Sagan back from injury in record time. Like no one's ever seen someone come back from basically a hip replacement. Like is what he got. He got a new hip and came back in record time. Miro Heiskanen pushes himself in rehab to come back, not all the way in time, but he came back in the second round and he played his dick off. Like everyone just did everything. And I think what I was talking to Sam when we left the locker room in the press conference on the way back to the elevator, we were just talking, like, saw Sam Steele walk by and we just gave him knuckles, didn't say anything. Just like, hey, good job. Like, that was it. And you can just see the hurt in his eyes. And we mentioned it, like, you don't see that out of every sport after a team loses in the playoffs at some point, like, because of what they have to do to their bodies to get them ready. I know football's a very physical sport, but they play once a week. Hockey's every other day. You played 18 games and you still had to win 3 more to get to the next round. And then you had to win 4 more to win the cup. Like, it is such a grueling sport, and they dump every ounce of energy and time and heart into this sport to try to go win a giant piece of metal at the end of the day. It's a giant Stanley Cup, and it's the best trophy in sports, and it means the most for a reason. And I saw that firsthand for the first time last night. Obviously, we know the Jamie Benn clip in 2020 in the bubble when he's sitting in his locker in full uniform and everyone's already left. Like, you can see how much that hurts him, but that's only on camera. It's like a security camera in the back of the locker room. That's all you saw. I saw it firsthand last night. I saw Robo, saw Wyatt, Mikko, Jamie, Pete DeBoer, like just sitting in the locker room and trying to answer questions to the best of their ability because they know everybody has jobs to do. And you can see the hurt in their eyes, and it just breaks people down to the point where they're going to cry. They need hugs. They just need everything in life to go the way they need it to. Like, Robo gets hurt the last game of the season. He came back from a sprained MCL injury. Like, there's no way he should have been skating, let alone playing in the fucking playoffs. And he worked his tail off to come back and play in this series. And I just, I feel for the guys. And now that I've gotten to talk to them, be in the locker room with them, and just kind of get to know some of the guys, I just really feel for them. And I understand it at a different level now, having seen it in person, where you can't see it on TV. You can see all the clips, you can see all their comments and everything. You know how much it hurts, but you don't know until you're just like seeing it firsthand. And I still don't have a fucking clue because I didn't do that. I came to the games. I watched them in the press box all season long. I talked to the guys all season long. And I feel just hurt and sad for them, but they feel it on a completely different level. So I feel for the guys, feel for Jake. It's a tough way to end the season. Obviously, 3 straight Western Conference finals in a row. You're the first team in the Stanley Cup era to not win a finals, going to 3 conference finals in a row. First one to not lift the cup, which sucks. It's a lot of firsts this season. The Vancouver game, empty netters, and yeah, I don't know, man. It sucks, and I'm sad. And I'm sad that we're not going to be podcasting every other game, like after every game, and get to talk about hockey a lot more. Like, I'm going to watch one more series, and then it's over until October, which sucks. It's a sad time. I tweeted a picture of my golf clubs last night. Excited to see those again, but not excited to not talk about hockey every day.
Kind of putting a bookend on this season. It has been an incredible season for Texas hockey, in my opinion. 4 nations, everything that's happened, the ups and downs, a really hot start by Otter to begin this year. But with how upset I was last night, there's no shame. We all know now, Edmonton is the best team in the Western Conference, hands down. It is what it is. You battled as hard as you could, and they put the puck in the net more than we did. They deserve the right to play for the Stanley Cup, and I kind of think that this year might be their year. They might win it, but to cover this team and to be along the ride. Again, for the people that don't know, I live in Houston, almost 300 miles away. The amount of people just in the Apollo office that have kind of followed with us on this Texas hockey journey, and the amount of people in Houston that I've gotten to grow the game of hockey. Like, if you're a listener from Edmonton, you wouldn't understand, but like, this was a success for American hockey, and a team like Dallas, man, there was so much right that went on this year, and like for it to end like this is unfortunate, but it can't diminish what was done this year. I really hope Matt Duchene comes back, because when I listened to his Chicklets interview, to hear about him getting a sports psychologist, and I think he had the best season he's had in a while in his 30s, like 30 goals this year, unbelievable. The best contract in hockey. We said it all year long, and he just ran out of juice. When you carry the team as much as he had to with all the injuries that we had, it's going to happen. And Thomas Harley took a huge leap in his development. Wyatt Johnston, we got under contract. He's going to be a star for a very long time. The outlook in Dallas is still very bright. The stars are still shining. It's just you wish they didn't go out like this. The finger pointing by particularly Coach Peter DeBoer, it's sad to see. But make no mistake about it. If you're a fan of the Dallas Stars, you got a really good organization to root for. And the Mavericks are it's going to take a little bit of time, but they'll be back. The Stars aren't going anywhere. They aren't going anywhere. No matter what happens, we'll get into it in the offseason, what's going to be happening, but you got a really good team in Dallas, and I'm proud of the boys for this entire season, much less the playoffs.
Yep. Hell of a season. It was an awesome experience getting a press pass and getting to know the guys and being in the building for free for every game I wanted to go to. Like, I had a season pass. I was able to go to every game, like, for free. Like, it's a sports kid's dream. Like, when you grow up, you're like, I just want to go to all the games. I just want to go. I want to know the guys. I just want to do all these things. And like, I'm a fan of the team. I am. This is a weird crossover pod. Like DLLS, they have the beat reporters, and they're more serious, and they're stating facts and numbers and talking strategy and all that kind of stuff. We're fans. We're fans of the game. We're fans of this team. And to be able to talk to it, the listeners and the viewers on YouTube at Apollo HOU is it's been a blast this year. I've got to tell a lot of stories that people may not have heard before, which I think is very fun, because we always want to create content that you would want to consume. That is the viewpoint of Apollo Media. And we want to create content that we would like to consume, that you would like to consume, and just hear about. Like, they do it on Beyond the Diamond, Off the Gridiron, Summit State of Mind. Like, it's been a blast this season getting this off the ground, and we appreciate everyone viewing and tuning into this Clean Sheet of Ice podcast. And we'll be back next week, talk about exit interviews, and then we'll do another podcast probably later in the week to season recap and talk about our favorite moments and the regular season, and like just the craziest things that happened this season. There's a lot of them. There's a number of them that you can't even talk about on this one, but it was a blast. I had a great time with this team. Can't wait to do it again next year and see what it looks like in the offseason with either the moves that they make free agency or trade wise, and what they do to this team. It's going to be interesting to see, because at some point, something's got to change. You can make it to the Western Conference Finals 3 years in a row. You did a lot of changes this year in the free agency pool in the offseason, and a couple of trades. Like, you did everything you could, and they just came up short. Edmonton was the better team, and can't argue with that. But we'll be back next week. Talk about exit interviews early in the week, Monday, Tuesday, somewhere in there. We'll get that up, and then we'll do a season recap later in the week, talking about our favorite moments. But we're not going anywhere. We're going to do once a week in the summer. We're going to talk about the Stanley Cup Finals as well, and then we'll get into the draft and free agency, and just we'll maybe break down some games from earlier this season and favorite moments and all that kind of stuff. But we're not going anywhere. We'll be here for the off season, and then sometime August, September, we'll take a little bit of a break heading into October, where the regular season will be back. The Stars will be back in AAC next year in the hangar. It's going to be fun. I can't wait for it. It's sad that it's gone. It's May 30th, and I'm not going to have any Stars hockey to watch for several months. I got to get back into baseball, which is already breaking my brain. I got to get ready for my Mississippi State regional tonight. It's a lot going on, but the golf clubs are out. We'll be golfing. We'll be doing that. But Dom, it's been a blast. Any last words for the last game of the season?
To all the listeners that have followed from episode 1 is actually when Jamie Benn went on LTIR. For all the listeners that have followed from that point, Tyler Seguin, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For all the listeners that have followed from that point on, it has been awesome to grow the game of hockey in a spot where a lot of people don't think it will be successful here in Houston. I'm here to tell you they're wrong. Hockey, when we get hockey in Houston, it'll show that it's the best sport in the world. It is within a matter of 5 years become my favorite sport, and I am excited to continue to share with the viewers and everybody that how exciting it is. And if you've never been to an NHL game, make the trip up to Dallas because it's something you'll never forget. It's incredible, and I'm so happy that we have a team up in Dallas that is so well run, and the fans are incredible. And the guys on that team, they're so easy to root for. They're really good guys. Stone's gotten a chance to meet a few of them. They're awesome. And don't worry, because this train is just getting started. I think the first year of Clean Sheet of Ice is a success, and you're going to see a lot more successful things to come.
Yeah, it was a blast this season. Love getting to know the guys. Love getting to know the viewers and all the new Twitter followers. Enjoyed every ounce of your, I guess, participation in this podcast, like comments, retweeting and posting on wherever you post it, listening to it, watching it on our YouTube channel. And it's been a blast. I can't wait to do more of it. And we'll be back next week. We're not done yet. We got a lot to talk about still. We got exit interviews tomorrow in Frisco. So I'm going to go to those and see what there is to say. Talk to the guys one last time. Some of the guys that are free agents that may not ever see again. I'm going to try to make sure I talk to Brendan Smith. He was always my guy in the locker room earlier in the season when I was too timid to go talk to Jake or Wyatt or anyone else in there. But yeah, Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast. I mean, it was a blast. That's all I can say. It was a lot of fun, and I hate that it ended this way, but it's not over. We got a hell of a team up here in Dallas, and they're going to be really good for a long, long time. So we'll see what happens this offseason. But for now, this has been Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang. Zang responsibly this summer with America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. Zing Zang. And use code Apollo when you sign up for Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app. It's not sports betting. You hit more or less on every stat, every game, every night, every player. We love Prize Picks. Use code Apollo when you sign up. Get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Shout out to Zing Zang. Shout out to you, Dom. Shout out to the listeners and the viewers on our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We'll be back very, very soon, actually, next week with another episode of Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast.